Hello, baby. You know, there's something special about um, my pockets.
There's something special in your pockets. What is it?
It's a piece of cloth.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I don't know where that was
Yeah, I
going.
don't know. I was gonna
But
say it's like,
me neither.
do you have some in your pocket? Is that a square in your
Well,
pocket, or are you happy
I
to
was
see
gonna
me?
say, you guys remember how? Or you guys probably
Oh
seen where
god.
like a guy will like just take the lining out of the pocket, and be like, "That's my pocket square." Have you guys seen
Yeah.
that?
I
I mean,
haven't. I haven't. I don't know if I've seen a guy do that in front of me, like say those words and then do
Yeah.
that exact action.
Not in real
But
life.
I
Okay.
have seen. I have seen jackets where that's like a marketing point, where it's like it has a crazy
Like
lining
a
on the
fun
inside.
like paisley lining on the
Yeah, and they're like,
inside.
"That's your pocket square."
It's weird because I know like mannequins will do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if J Crew does it, but I know like at Banner Republic we did that because we didn't actually have a lot of pocket
Oh
squares.
yeah,
You
so you
know?
just had to pretend, and so it was always just like, here's this like navy lining and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there was
Or-
like some weird like jacquard thing for like the pockets.
I feel
But
okay, so I don't think there's many brands doing that anymore, but I feel like that was a thing in like the early to mid 2000s. When else would that have like the 60s or 70s? I guess they could have conceivably been
maybe.
done. I'm just trying to think. Like I bet
But
like
but back then most pocket lining was like cotton.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've seen like it's just because I'm imagining like some of the things that I've seen,
I've
where
seen a lot of
where
things.
it's like yeah, like a floral or like psychedelic print and stuff like that. I feel like
Oh yeah.
like those.
But that's
Those could
jacket
be.
lining. Is that also sometimes okay?
I feel
Again, I
like
bring this up because not always did you have jacket lining match like the pocket
that's
lining.
true, but I'm just saying. I bet if you look at every suit made in the Johnny Carson collection or something,
Oh yeah.
there'll be some example of a jacket that has that built-in pocket square as like a selling point.
I think the Ryan Seacrest collection might have done that as well.
Who did that?
Yeah, but I'm also referring to the Jimmy Fallon pocket square, which also was like a phone holder or something. You guys remember that?
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad
look it
that
up
late
right-
night
look
hosts
it up
still
right
have
now.
suit lines, though. That's good.
Jimmy Fallon
Did it have like
pocket square.
Did it have like a?
Did Jimmy Fallon and J. Crew just reinvent the pocket square? Dude, fuck off. Meet the pocket dial. Part pocket square, part iPhone case.
Oh,
And oh, it's ugly as
So-
hell, dude. It's like a leather wallet pocket, wallet
Case.
case thing, and then there's like as if it's hair, like a little tuft of cloth.
or like a carrot.
Don't care for
A
that.
bad carrot.
Yeah,
That means
I love
that means
that.
your chest pocket's gonna be weighed down with your phone, and it's like bulging.
Yeah, and I like how this article says we're big fans of Jimmy Fallon.
'Cause
Like
they got paid.
we at GQ, we love this.
Mhm.
We love it so much. It's $48. Get the hell out of here, brother. The pocket dial. I'm looking up Ryan Seacrest. Actually, I don't care about Ryan Seacrest.
Okay,
Welcome,
wait, let me
everyone.
look up pocket square. I'm just trying to think of the dumbest fucking thing a pocket square could also be. There's got to be. I mean, I know that there's gonna be like a million things that's like this pocket square is also a microfiber cloth where you can clean your glasses or iPhone with.
Do you know who did that?
Who did that? Ryan Seacrest.
The Armory.
Oh, the Armory. Really? They did that?
Yeah, no, they did that. The
Wow.
Armory did pocket square like microfiber. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think if there's got to be a goofier, dumber thing. Like, have you seen those ties
Okay,
that
at
double
least
as a flask?
Oh yeah, like they have a little like tube, like
Yeah,
like
maybe
a
it's
little,
just a
like,
really
thing.
thick square in your breast pocket that's filled with booze.
Yeah,
But if someone
I
hugs you
just
too
looked
hard,
it
it
up.
pops.
I just found it. So the Armory pocket squares, they actually have a nice design to them. They look. I mean, I'll put it in.
They look amazing.
They look like a
Does this have
regular.
a chat? But this does have a chat. Holy shit! I forgot about this. I never use fucking Zoom. A little peek behind the baseball curtain, as it were.
Baseball
But
curtain.
yeah, the Armory has a lens cloth pocket square. It's made with special polyester material that is the ultimate in lens
Wow.
cleaning.
Well, I didn't even know that when I made that little gag, but here we go. Life imitates art, as it turns out, which is my jokes. Those are art.
Yeah. But I do know the value of this microfiber thing. My mom got a whole bunch of them, and it's so much better than my regular lens cloth. Like this like crazy fiber thing. Like I'm like, oh my god, I can
fiber.
see.
Fiber for
Oh
your
yeah,
eyes.
you guys remember that one?
Yeah. Oh, dude, they
Oh.
should market fiber for your eyes.
Like for poop coming out of your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to me all the time. I don't know about you guys, but like, every day.
You weep poop.
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus.
Jesus. The short. Everyone knows that the shortest verse in the Bible is Jesus pooped,
Jesus pooped, yeah. That's right.
and then the second part is from his eyes.
From his eyes.
Yeah. Don't you guys love that? Don't you guys love Sound Direction and their poop? Hey, we did it without even like referencing it beforehand. So
We just love
played
poop
ourselves
jokes.
straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just played ourselves straight.
Mm-hmm.
Which is never mind. Welcome back to Sound Direction,
Welcome.
your podcast. Without the stuffiness, I am one of your 3 faithful
Faithful.
servants. Yeah, faithful servants of menswear.
I'm not
Ethan
faithful.
M. Wong.
I've been cheating on everybody.
With a different
I've spent-
podcast or what?
Yeah.
Yep,
Richard
yeah.
Gere is not the one unfaithful. Who is it? Diane Lane, I think.
That's
is the-
right.
the
Richard
one.
Gere, he hired a damn prostitute. Can you believe that guy?
I can believe it.
Yeah.
Wait, he hired one? He was one.
Ooh, well, hold on. No,
American
wait,
Gigolo.
no, wait.
Which-
Not,
what are you
not
referring
fucking
to?
Richard Gere. I'm thinking about the English guy. I'm crazy. I'm straight up crazy.
What movie are you talking about?
Was it Hugh Grant? Yeah,
In real life, he hired a prostitute?
I think so. And yeah, because like Jay Leno got him on and was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
I'm sorry. I love prostitutes.
Yeah, and that's basically what he said.
Yeah.
But it was not Richard Gere. Those are two very different guys.
When I watch American Gigolo, I could see Richard Gere, like his whole, like even the way he acts, kind of Ryan Gosling-esque. Like even like the way he talked was kind of like Ryan Gosling. That kind of
Okay.
like that kind of like light, slightly whiny voice that Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling does. I don't think I've seen like a young Richard Gere movie. So
That's
They
why
should
all the
make a movie
ladies
called
loved
like
him,
The
man.
Young Richard Gere.
yeah, I would love. Yeah, I would love to look like him.
Yeah, let me look up Richard Gere, Ryan Gosling. Let's just figure out: are they parents? Are they parents?
Hello, son.
Yeah.
I am Richard Gere.
That'd be fun if it was his dad, and we just learned on.
What are both of your
Sage.
names?
Richard Gere hated Ryan Gosling. No. God damn it! I'm trying to. Okay, I fucking hate Pinterest. It's fucking a virus that's eating up the internet. Google is completely useless now because every time I try to click on an interesting clickbait headline, like 9 movie couples who
Oh, yeah,
hated
I
each
know.
other in real life,
Oh,
it
can't-
always
can't-
links to a fucking Pinterest thing that doesn't link to the original article. I'll never learn if Richard Gere hated Ryan Gosling, but maybe they did.
I'm MJ.
Here's
That's
oh,
right.
that's MJ. Wait, really quick. Here's a post from the Frustrated Indian
Okay.
that just says Ryan Gosling, Richard Gere, Ricky Gervais.
What's
That's it?
What's the connection or what's the through line there?
It's from some Indian news website. ED delivers a stunner. Says a guest to Westland Middleman's diary mentions the initials RG. Wow, and that's what's going on. That's the news that the mainstream media won't tell you.
That's right. You gotta go
Yeah.
to Q for that, right?
That's right. Yeah.
It's our one of our Q drops.
This is our Q drop.
You
Yeah.
collab.
And that's Spencer, by the way, guys.
Oh
That's
yeah, I'm Spencer. Hi.
Welcome. We're talking about pocket squares.
We're talking
That
about the
is what
squares.
That's right.
In my
And I can't
pocket.
believe we've never talked. I don't even think I've written about pocket squares, other than one article, which is called the. Do they call it the exploding pocket square? I'm pretty sure I did. The
I would hate to
exploding
have an exploding pocket square because that's so close to your heart. I feel like it would fuck up your ventricles, or
Oh, I
aortic
did. I
valves,
never
you know?
wrote it as a standalone. Actually,
it just shows
think
up
I
in other
just-
things. Well, I think
Yeah.
there's a reason we haven't really talked much about pocket squares, and it's because I don't necessarily want to say it's an afterthought for us, but I think it kind of is. Like, I don't know. I used to wear them a lot more,
Yeah.
and now I don't. But even when I did wear them, I was like, It just, I would just find ones that I like and kind of throw it in. It wasn't as much as an intentional thing as like, oh, I want to have a shirt with like a long collar or something, or like button pocket harmony or whatever. It was just like, okay, well, this kind of goes with that, so it works.
It's
Yeah, we're gonna have to get into that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a low effect detail or like dressing decision.
And again,
Which
maybe
is
after
really
this
funny.
episode, I'll
Yeah.
decide to start wearing them again. But I haven't really worn pocket squares recently.
I mean, we're gonna get into it because most of the times guys wear a pocket square is because they're wearing a tie,
Mm-hmm.
or because they want to be formal. And yeah, I know that we just said that it's kind of low on our dressing accoutrement priority list, but most guys will get a fun pocket square.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of like they like when they start upgrading their style. I think they're like, well, I have ties at home. I've got a sport coat already. Most guys, and I'm using this very generally, it could also just be straight up not true, but I think guys will be like, oh, but I'll start getting a pocket square. A lot of guys, again, that's not a real fact, but from what I looked up, a lot of people call it like a very easy like luxury thing to have.
Hmm.
I think so it's kind of like this. It occupies this kind of space of, oh, when I'm trying to get into menswear, I'm trying to get dressed up. The pocket square is something that I can buy, that I can spend a little bit more money on, and I'll get like the benefit is like looking fancier, injecting some personality to it, and they get a little bit more dapper, a little bit different than what they normally wear.
Yeah, and I want to.
But yeah,
Well, I also want to be clear. We just talked shit about pocket squares lightly for a little bit, but also like I feel like it does. Like I'm not denying that it does. There's a difference between, if you say you have a guy in a nice 3-roll 2 Brooks Brothers sack suit or something.
yeah.
Sans pocket square, and then you have someone with a neat little TV fold or a puff or something like that. There's a difference between those two outfits. There's like a difference in vibe.
There is. It does add something to
Mm-hmm.
the fit, and we'll get into how we wear pocket squares, like when we actually do it and what the vibes are. But what's the history of pocket squares?
I'd be glad to tell you, and
Yes,
we'll be
and
going straight to the source. That's right.
Yes, I was about to make
With time
a
traveling.
little like Rosetta Stone reference or something. But go ahead.
Well,
Spencer, where is this coming from?
This is coming from knowledge. This is from the Encyclopedia.
Can you say his last name?
Yes, Esquire's Encyclopedia of 20th Century Menswear.
But the author's last
Encyclopedia
name.
Brown.
Yeah, no, it's like O.E. Softlofer or whatever. his name
Sure,
is.
I don't know. I just thought it was Encyclopedia Brown who actually wrote this one.
Okay.
But anyway, what they have written here, and I'll just go through. I'm not going to read it all, but I
Not
will.
verbatim.
Not verbatim, but I'll just kind of summarize this. So the term handkerchief, meaning a silk square that you would put in your pocket, was not really a thing until about 1900, the turn of the century. And then around then in Sears catalogs, you could get pure linen hem-stitched handkerchiefs with white centers and artistic fancy colored borders from Sears. And so you could get Japanese silks. Later in the 20s, they became a lot more popular. And report Menswear, the magazine, noted that brightly figured shantung were being reported popular at Oxford, were very much in evidence and were worn by the younger set, not only decorate the pockets but for general use. And so people were not just using pocket squares for fashion, but they were actually using them to blow their nose and stuff like that. Later on, they became the brighter colors that you had seen in the 20s, which I didn't realize this. This was like according to Esquire, this was like a big thing. Just like in the 20s, you would want the novelty pocket square and the brightly colored silk and stuff like that. Later in the 30s, it became a little bit more subdued. And we've seen like the pocket squares that I guess are close to the ones they've talked about. Like the ones that are really common in the 30s and 40s are the mostly white or like tonal ones that have kind of like a big exploding like check pattern. I feel like I have a bunch of those that I've gotten like from Benny or other vintage stores where they normally sell them for like really cheap. There were also like foulards, and then Yeah, just like paisley prints as well. But I mean, I haven't seen as many examples in real life. The TV fold, which we'll talk about, first started becoming popular in the late 40s, which is when, like the 30s and 40s is when it kind of became more common just to wear the plain white cotton or linen pocket square. I think that was a thing for the entire time the pocket square was being worn. But of course, it went from being like if you're a fashionable guy, you would get the cool silk patterned one, to you would play it safe and you would get the plain one. In the 60s, there was a brief trend of embroidered pocket squares, which was, again, another little fun fact that I did not realize. But yeah, I mean, we can go back and reference this as we go through the episode, but that's like a very basic history of pocket squares.
Yeah, it's
Like I
really
said-
interesting to see how something has gone from a utilitarian thing to a decorative thing.
Mhm.
But that kind of just describes the entirety of classic menswear. You
There
know,
was
military
one-
clothing,
one thing-
utilitarian workwear.
When they were talking about, like, the Oxford students who were wearing them, it said something, it's like, oh, they would wear them in the pirate style, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Does that mean, like, you would wear it like it's a
You'd wear it
bandana?
on-
Yeah, on
that
your
would
head?
be cool.
Like Smee? Does Smee actually? Well, I don't even know what Smee wears.
I don't know what Smee
Um,
looks like.
Yeah,
I've
I've also
forgotten
got
What
I've also
Smee
got a
looks like.
text,
They
a
would
Bible.
They would fold it like a sail and wear it that way. I'm making that up, but
Yeah, kind of TV fold, but like a triangle angle kind of a
and
thing.
like
I
just
don't-
sticking out of their hat.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so this is coming now from Alan Flesser's Dressing the Man. And I haven't opened this book in a long time. I mainly bought this for, like, photos, because, like, this is, like, the earliest time I was like, oh, I haven't seen some of these excrement illustrations. But, yeah, I'm going to read from this here a little bit. It says here, in May 1957, Apparel Arts, the Men's Fashion Bible, declared the pocket handkerchief an index of fashion change.
Wow, an index.
That's right. As with other artifacts of sartorial polish, like French cuffs or a collar bar, the jacket's chest handkerchief adds a finishing touch to the ensemble. And I feel like that kind of just puts, it kind of describes exactly what a pocket hanky, a pocket square does. Is that it's kind of like this final accent that you can do to pull things together in your outfit.
And that's something I
You
didn't
know?
mention, but that's another thing that they talked about a lot, is especially in the 30s. It was like you would want something that, like, not necessarily matches your tie in terms of, like, the exact pattern and color, but you would want to complement it or, like, pull a color from your tie or your shirt or something like that. But
Yeah.
also, like, tonal looks in general were pretty popular in the 30s, so to be
That's true.
expected.
Yeah, like you would kind of match it, but like it's more complementary, like you said, Spencer. I think it wouldn't you wouldn't do like a set. And there's even like in this, I think I saw an Esquire illustration where it's like you don't want to. It tells you don't match it.
Mm-hmm. Which I think that's been like the rule, well, not the rule, but just a general rule of thumb for a long time is, it just does look tacky. I think that's just like something undeniable. Having the matching tie and pocket square set just kind of looks, I don't know, it makes you look like you're fucking wearing like a costume. Like that's something that
That's an interesting thing about like why does this look bad? I know like I bet people listen to this and be like, oh yeah, like why can't I like wear
it's
the,
like, go
you know,
ahead.
It came in a set,
I
right?
think
Like,
it looks
yeah.
bad.
And I think, number one, it's kind of like, it reminds you of when a guy sees a mannequin and then wears the like the outfit like the mannequin and then only wears those pieces the way he saw it. Like there is no thought behind it. And I think that that's fine for, as like, for a general thing. But I feel like, if you really think about it, it's more fun to kind of mix and match and kind of have some color theory behind it, and I think everyone can do it. It's not like this is not something that requires a fashion degree or a fashion historian thing. Like, I think people can be like, oh, well, like an orange tie and like a brown pockets are kind of like work because it's like a fall color thing. You know what I mean? Like people have that in the back of their heads. But apparently, Alan Flesser also includes a letter sent into Apparel Arts from 1936, and it says here, a guy from Denton, what's MD? Maryland. Yeah. Uh, Gentlemen kindly suggest colors and handkerchiefs, or colors and designs of handkerchiefs to wear with combinations of plain color white, blue, and brown shirts with blue and white vertical stripes. Sounds like me. Wide with white, with a wide light brown stripe on white and blah 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 blah. Or a sport coat combination of unmatched coat and linen trousers. And the Esquire man himself says, breast pocket handkerchiefs may be of similar shade to either the tie worn, its background color, or colors of its figures or stripes. Alternatively, it may be of a similar shade to the shirt worn or its stripes and patterns. If it is possible to secure a handkerchief which contains colors that are both in the shirt and tie, this frequently makes a smart combination. It is undesirable to match the colors exactly, as this looks studied.
It looks too studied.
Yeah, it kind of like, it looks, a little cringy to wear together because, especially when you find these like sets, they're all, almost always like in some vibrant color or pattern that you can't help but think like, well, like if you wear them together, like people will know that you're wearing this, and it's not about like status or like, oh, you're poor, but it's just kind of like, why not have some contrast in the fit, And I personally I like the idea that I like having this other thing to kind of like match stuff together, or to kind of complement instead of match, because I mean a pocket square is so that, and because you're already wearing a tie and you're wearing it with like a sport coat, the kind of cheesy things, the cheesy actions that you take should be lessened because you're already wearing kind of like a wild thing, especially nowadays where again outfits or people don't have to wear suits and ties and pocket squares anymore. And we're gonna get into if we still wear these stuff. I do know that dressing the man, even though I kind of already had a good idea, I did pull a lot of inspiration from it, from how to wear pocket squares. My mom also told me like don't match it completely because my mom had grown up reading the Preppy Handbook. I don't have the copy anymore because she took it back years ago, which makes sense because it's out of print and it's from the 80s when she was like a teenager. But I'm curious if there is anything in the Preppy Handbook about like tie and pocket square and shirt matching. But yeah, so like Spencer said, like there's a bunch of different fabrics that pocket squares were like made in. Very generally speaking, like Spencer alluded to, in like the 30s and maybe like have more of like a 40s thing, you saw a lot more of like this checked pattern that wasn't found on the whole pocket square, but it was like kind of like on the edge of it. And I'll put some photos and I'll see if I can find some advertisements of those things.
But like those do really well if you're doing the whole exploding like pocket 30s. Square thing, because because then it's like you get all the peaks and everything. Otherwise, if you are just doing the TV fold, you would still get the border, I guess, depending on how you fold it. You could also just have it plain. Maybe that's also a selling point.
Multiple opportunities.
But yeah, those I mean, man, I have a lot of those, and fuck, I cannot. They're in Southern California, so I cannot get pictures of them unless I ask my roommates to do that. But I don't know
what the hell that
they're
is.
not gonna know. But yeah.
But it's funny to see, like pocket squares to me were always like they're always part of a look, Like Spencer said, like you have a guy in a sack suit not wearing the pocket square. I think that guy would look agnostic, right? That guy could be anywhere, which is cool, which is a selling point of classic menswear. But you put that guy, same thing, navy blazer or like a tweed jacket with a OCBD chinos or whatever with a TV fold. Instantly, he reminds you of like a '60s Ivy League guy. He looks '60s. And I'm sure even if people might not say like the exact era, people will be like, "Oh, that guy looks like some kind of old school thing."
Or it's like, "Hey, he looks sharp. He looks like Don Draper or something."
Yeah, exactly. And it's when we think about everything in terms of like cinematic dressing, stuff like a pocket square, the use of it, how it is folded, the pattern of it does play into the aesthetic your overall aesthetic, your overall POV.
Absolutely.
And when looking at Esquire Man, as where I got my inspiration from. Like, I would see, like, guys would wear pattern pocket squares. They weren't always, like, in a puff fold. They would kind of, like, be kind of exploding out.
Yeah.
Kind of like that little, when people see, like, gangsters, they always imagine, like, those kind of, like, those, like...
The
like
3
pyramids.
points.
Yeah, which is, in my head, a little bit more of, like, a modern affectation, like a 70s, 80s version of the 40s.
I've seen
like,
the three peaks a lot in the 50s and 60s. I think that's like a mid-century thing.
Okay, yeah,
But
it's more mid-century. But when you look at like photos of like the 30s and 40s, they're kind of a little bit more haphazard. They're kind of just thrown in there. And there's even an illustration. It's not a vintage one. It is just kind of an instructional that Alan Flusser does, where it looks like how I do it, where there is no fuss to it. It's just you take the pocket square, you dig it upside down, you just kind of wave it so the points are all down, and then you just take that and put it in your pocket. And that's it. You kind of just arrange it from there. There's no like twisting or whatever. And that's definitely how you might think that movie stars would do it. Because when you look at it, like Spencer said earlier, the exploding pocket square. I call it that. That's not a term found in Esquire Man Bible, but it is kind of like when you see like these old movie stars, like the pocket square is just like exploding out of their pocket. It's just kind of like it's haphazard. Sometimes like the peaks are like depending on if it's like a silky one, it'll like the peaks will like kind of fold over the pocket and look very droopy. I think it's really cool. And you also see that in illustrations during those times too. And like, so for me, I started wearing a pocket square because I knew that it was important for the look. Even if at the time, if I wasn't wearing completely all vintage, I would want to do the vintage look by doing the pocket square because it does contribute to that thing. Like, again, if it was a TV fold, you'd look 60s. If it's exploding, you'd look more like 30s, 40s. If you don't have one, you'd look like H&M in 2009.
But I mean, like you said, yeah, if you did, depending on how you do it, also I can't think of any specific examples, but I'm sure if you look at like films and television from like the late 40s to early 50s and stuff like that, you'd find a lot of examples like, oh, this one character is supposed to be straight-laced and stuffy, so he's got the classic like TV fold, or maybe the peaks, because obviously those are very fastidious to do. And then you have a character with a more artistic temperament or something like that, and they got the crazy exploding pocket square. It's like, I don't know, it's like, I mean, hey, like you said, it's like the reason that you like wearing ties is because it's one more thing that you can be careless about or something. Yeah. So it's like the same thing with the pocket squares, kind of. It's just
I really like that. That's like the whole appeal of like kind of maximalist kind of a thing. I
know it's also a lot easier to wear pocket squares. I feel like the effect that you get from wearing, say, a red silk pocket square that's exploding out of your pocket is basically the same. Well, I don't know. It's not basically the same as wearing like a red carnation, but I think it's a lot easier to get that kind of little pop of color, and it doesn't look nearly as cheesy.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough now because I was going to say, like, as time went on, people don't wear pocket squares anymore. I think it's when you watch like 90s television, kind of like with the collar bar, like when we talked about Young Chomsky for John Feld, like a pocket square is kind of like what an older guy would do. It's kind of a signal of like this guy is like a more classic man, or he's like rich guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And people like Jerry or whatever, they don't wear pocket squares. Like they just don't have that thing. Presumably because they're not always wearing a tie, but like it's just the pocket square is a part of like this look, and then of course now you just don't. People don't wear it because people don't wear ties anymore. People don't wear suits anymore.
Well, I think it's interesting. Like the last presidents who have worn pocket squares, I believe. Well, Biden is a famous pocket square wearer.
Is he really?
He is, and a lot of times he does the 3 points.
I see it now. Yeah,
I don't believe Trump ever wore one. I think the last president before Biden who regularly wore a pocket square was Ronald Reagan, old Ronnie Donnie. But let me see, because I think he did like either a puff or maybe he did the points as well. Yeah, he did like a puff, or kind of like, that looks like a puff. In the 40s, of course, he did the exploding pocket square. You can pull some photos of that. But yeah, he always did like a pretty simple. It's not even like a full puff. It's just a slightly more rounded like TV fold.
It looks like he just did a TV fold, like he kind of like folded it,
like pulled it up in the middle. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's interesting that those two presidents, who of course, famous for being old, both of them, are two most recent pocket square wearers.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like Ronald Reagan, even though he's like a fucking awful person, like there is like a look. He looks like he has like that bastion of like Republican conservative stuff, right? He looks clean cut.
Anything about his record as a president or as a human being? It's like, of course, he's a fucking product of Hollywood in the 40s or 50s. Like he's gonna have that certain look, It's like, The man knew how to wear a suit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was at a flea market. I saw like a collection of Ronald Reagan photos, like it was like a book, I guess. And I was
Yeah.
like, I mean, say what
Did,
you will, man. The
Dude,
guy's
did you see the one where he looks like a fucking like Bushwick like line chef or something? Where he's just wearing like a t-shirt tucked into jeans with like a watch cap. It's so funny. It's great. It's like a
no,
photo
I
of him
don't.
on his ranch. Let me look up Ronald Reagan
That
t-shirt.
sounds. Oh, I see it with the fucking
Yeah.
aviator, like the Hunter Thompson
Oh
aviators, kind
yeah,
of.
dude. I mean, like
Yeah,
that fucking guy. Oh yeah, if you Google Ronald Reagan t-shirt, you just get a bunch of annoying t-shirts that Republicans wear.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, let's talk about let's move to the modern day now, where yeah, pocket squares are kind of interesting because after people stopped wearing them, they came back with hashtag menswear,
They did.
and it's
Wow.
interesting because it's if we think about it, like the pocket square is a part of the hashtag menswear look, and I'm specifically referring to, the I guess you could call it like novelty pocket square, but like not in like a silly way. I mean, I guess there probably were some, but like paisleys, like
Mm-hmm.
foulards, and that's kind of the silly
That's
ones.
just.
But
I
like
mean,
the,
well,
the
that's
drapes,
that's.
the tapestry prints, the astronaut prints, all that kind of stuff. That I don't know if Drake's even still makes anymore because they
I still
pivoted.
like the tapestry prints. That's the funny. Like, I never wear mine. I have like one tapestry print Drake's thing. I still think that's one of my favorite pocket squares. Maybe it's just because I like the
Yeah.
artwork on it, but I'm like,
Well,
this is
I was
really
gonna
good.
say it's like an Ethan thing to say, but like why wear the tapestry print pocket square when you could just fucking get a tapestry, dude, and just hang that in your
Sure, but
house.
I can't carry it around with me all the time, you know?
Well, then you don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, like hashtag menswear, this time where guys are thinking about like what they're wearing more, they're putting more intentional thought. Guys are also want to subvert what came before, and back then, right? Like you don't wear, they say okay, people wearing black shoes, I'm gonna wear these tan shoes. People are like, okay, I'm gonna wear pocket square. Most people think of the white pocket square, so what's the opposite of that? Something with a fun print on it. And it's almost like people thought of pocket squares as like their novelty socks, like their novelty cufflinks. It kind of like goes hand in hand with like, okay, it's a fun little thing that maybe not everyone will notice, so I can be fully about me. I can go crazy with it, and people only see like a little sliver of it. So that's how you get like again like the Drake's pocket squares, which are probably the more tasteful versions of it. And you get like the silly ones like Star Wars pocket squares, and you get ones that are kind of like in the middle where like you have like the Mona Lisa printed, where it's like okay,
Yeah.
like it's art, but it's still a pocket
It's
square,
art.
and when you fold it into your pocket, like if no one's gonna know it's the Mona Lisa, you can see all these like orange and like
Oh, you know what they should
browns
do?
and olives.
You know the
Yeah,
Mad magazine like fold-ins things? Do you know what those are? Were you a
no,
Mad kid? Okay,
no.
well, Mad magazine, the last page used to be a big picture that looked kind of weird, and then there would be some text, and then you had to fold in the middle, and it would be like a picture of Richard Nixon's face or something, and it would say like, "What, me worry?" But that's they should do that with pocket squares. So it's like, it looks a certain way, and then you fold it and put it in your pocket, and it's like, wait a minute, that's Alfred E. Newman.
Oh, you're saying so when it's all folded weirdly,
Yeah,
like
I'll
that's when
send
it
a
comes
picture
out.
of the one of the
Okay,
fold-ins. I
okay.
that see this I think reading Mad Magazine as a kid was such a formative experience because I got not only Mad magazines, but I got like the Mad for Decades things. And this was before I was necessarily into vintage. I was still like always into history. But I would just spend like hours just reading a bunch of fucking Mad magazine jokes about stuff from the 60s and 70s. And I had no idea what that was about. Anyway, back to pocket squares really quick. I think a big reason they came back is, again, like Mad Men. Like that
Yeah.
came on in the air in like 2007 or whatever. People saw the skinny suits with the pocket squares and they're like, what the hell is this? Like, this is crazy. We got to do this. And so I think it's funny that it like there must have been the initial reaction of like everyone's getting the white silk pocket squares or the white cotton ones. They're doing the TV fold with their gray flannel suits and their white shirts and blue ties. And then at a certain point, someone had to have a reaction from that. It's like, no, if we're going to be doing the pocket squares, we got to have fun with it. So let's just get a bunch of
I mean, it's because like you don't
neon
want to look too
colors.
fancy, right? Like you don't
Yeah.
want to, and you also don't want like again, like I said, kind of at the top here, where guys probably didn't want to buy like a new tie or shirt or whatever, because presumably usually most guys have at least one suit, and like
Yeah.
one tie, and so like the fun pocket square is like a little fun thing, and I think even then, where people are starting to pay more attention to it, like they want these like affordable luxuries, and pocket squares, good pocket squares, like that's where all the fun novelty stuff comes in. You pay like $50, for the cheaper end of like the fun stuff of like, yeah, like the I think I have like the Birth of Venus or whatever as like a pocket square. I think I still have it because it's kind of like a cool like green and like red, and like it's pretty fun. And it is cool to like have, and you like the art and you want to bring it with you, like, and you don't want to, you can't bring the tapestry with you, but you can bring this little pocket square.
Yeah.
And so guys kind of do that. To me, it just seems like it's like the same thing as like wearing a Star Wars Rebel Alliance socks or like a fucking like Darth Vader cufflinks, but like in a way that is a bit more, that plays more with your outfit actually, because the cufflinks are kind of like, I think I'm actually okay with Star Wars cufflinks. Okay, like that's,
yeah.
I think socks are a little bit iffy because you can see it. But
I think
whatever.
Let's decide what Star Wars cufflinks you like. Okay, let's say it's just a little
Millennium
seal.
Falcon.
The Millennium Falcon. It's just a
Round
little
thing.
seal of like the Imperial or Rebel logo. That's cool. What if it's like a character head? I think we've talked about Chewbacca cufflinks before, where it's just
Greedo?
Chewbacca's head. Greedo cufflinks.
Yeah, we've
What would
definitely
be
seen
what-
Vader.
Yeah,
like in
absolutely.
person, like at Dapper Day.
Salacious Crumb.
You know what? Okay, here's what they should do for Star Wars cufflinks. You know the little
Okay.
bar on the back that keeps it in place? Make
Yeah.
that look like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my idea. That's it.
Nerds
Really,
everywhere will love it.
and really
Um,
quick, just a quick note. Going through the Esquire thing again, I did find. I was talking about what's a dumbass novelty pocket square that has a double use. Here's one of those from 1964. It's a speckerchief, and it holds glasses. I was worried saying that would be bad, but
Spencer's canceled.
but no, it is an eyeglass case that doubled as a pocket square, which is interesting. I would love
There's
to
no
see
photos of it.
No, not in this, but I would love to see what it looks like.
Okay.
But yeah, fun little fact. The other fun
Yeah, but-
fact that I didn't really think
yeah.
about is it said that the pocket squares were on the decline in the late 60s just because so many jackets did not have breast pockets, or they would have like a button-down
Oh.
breast pocket or something like that, because there were all those, you'd have Western jackets with yokes, or you would have like Nehru jackets and stuff like that. There was all these breast pocketless jackets going around.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense, right? I mean, again, it kind of also goes with like why pocket squares kind of went out for a little bit, because like if people aren't buying ties and everything, like why would you even do that? It forces the hand of like of having the luxury pocket square, because back
Yeah.
then pocket squares were like whatever, like the luxury pocket square outside of like silk, just in general, was like not as much of a thing. But what I like to is the Esquire has a couple of different anecdotes about it. Like in 1948, people talked about like the bold look with the Windsor knot, which also had a pocket square with a wide border. There was also Arrow shirts in 1940 and 41 had harmonizing shirts, pocket squares, ties, and shorts, which I'm presuming they mean like boxers, which were all made of like the kind of like that quintuple stripe,
That's
deco-y
crazy.
kind of thing.
I was
which I've
literally
definitely
just
seen.
joking yesterday with someone about you could get a matching shirt and underwear set from Bryceland's, which I still think is a pretty funny idea.
Yeah.
You could do that. There was a 4-piece matching underwear set. That's insane.
That's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There is also, in the 40s, people did like matching their colors and patterns all together. Boxer shorts all matched.
I feel like the bold era, like post World War. I feel like there was a lot of matchy shit going on.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
good, guys. It doesn't mean it's good.
Well, that's also
and-
that's also where I've seen a lot of, and I mean this is obviously different, but I've seen a lot of like magazine scans or whatever, where it's like the his and her suit, and it's like matching suits, but for a man and a woman,
Off topic on that similar vein, I did hear of a place that does matching underwear sets,
Ooh, okay.
like lingerie, like bespoke-ish, like lingerie, and like the guy would like get a nice frilly, or I don't know if it's frilly, but
It's just
Yeah.
it's just a little like cocksock, but it's like made of doily material or something.
yeah. But yeah, so to kind of go back to so like nowadays, guys wear pocket squares.
They
I
sure
think
do.
guys, when they're wearing suits. However, it does come off as a little bit cheesy now hashtag menswear has kind of like,
I mean,
come full circle.
I think it depends. Like again, like this is one of those things where it's like there's so many things that individually are very cheesy and hashtag menswear, but it's like if I see a guy in like, a fucking bright orange and green striped tie with a matching pocket square thing or something, I'm gonna be like, hold on, this guy's the autumn king. But then the second thought I'm gonna have is like, this is really cheesy. But
But
again, if I see someone that's just wearing a pocket square and it looks good with their outfit, I'm never gonna be like, oh, you're so hashtag menswear. Like, I think it's fine, you know?
I guess so, but I mean, I guess I'm referring to like within menswear circles. Like I feel like that whole look of like the Drake's thing of like the brown check jacket, the striped shirt, the striped tie with like the tapestry print pocket square, like that look. I guess it's also kind of out. Like you see a lot of like new Converse hashtag mentor doing that, but like a lot of the guys, even like Drake's themselves, doesn't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like there is, and we even polled the Discord about it, and people in our own Discord, the guys who wear suits more than most people, they don't like it. They don't do the pocket square. It feels a little bit too dandy, and I think it's because of like the mindset of wearing a pocket square. It's meant to kind of tie everything together, but because of that, it does feel a little bit superfluous. And the pocket square is probably the most superfluous thing that you could wear all together with your suit. Because I mean, even a tie has like, it takes up more visual space. It does make it for a different vibe. But the pocket square is so small outside of like the white one, where its use kind of feels weird. And when you put it in there, it does look studied, not in the matchy way, but just because like you're trying a little bit harder than most.
I mean, one of the reasons I personally haven't worn pocket squares in a long time, even though I've been wearing more sport coats, is because a lot of times I'm using my breast pocket for something else, either to carry sunglasses or notebook or sometimes my phone or whatever. But yeah, that space just gets taken up, you know?
What about your inside pockets?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes
You want on the outside? That's crazy.
what, like the just the notebook or the phone or what?
Yeah, I put everything in my inside left breast pocket or my inside right breast pocket.
Sometimes I don't want to have to reach in there, you know? And also,
It's
it's
you're doing the motion
No.
is the same. The motion's
It's
the
not
same.
the same.
You're doing this.
Well, imagine I have a sweater on, which I often do this summer because I'm staying in fucking San Francisco, which is the coldest city in America.
That's what I have to do with this.
I have to wear fucking sweaters every time I go out.
But you're still
Yeah, but then
you're not.
I'm gonna have to reach underneath my sweater. I'm gonna stretch out the neck. No, thank you.
Wait, no, I'm talking about your
Oh,
inside jacket pocket.
Oh, I could do that too. But also, you should know this as a vintage collector. A lot of times,
Not a lot of them have the left one.
they don't have the left one, and I use my right one for my wallet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Uh-huh.
That goes for a lot of people here. So again, for those of you who don't know, not every sport coat has dual interior breast pockets.
Back in the day, you would just get it on the right side.
The right
I don't know why. But you would.
It just makes sense to have both. I don't get it. I don't know either. But yeah, okay. I know, and I know that Permanent Style does the same thing too, where like he'll put a pen in his outside breast pocket. He'll put glasses or whatever. So yeah, I mean the sentiment seems like guys are moving away from pocket squares, which is so funny because we had that whole big explosion. A lot of people like there's a lot of like those hipster pocket square stuff, and not even that. There's a lot of like luxury pocket square makers. I guess Drake's is kind of moving away from it, but like like those like Singaporean brands or like the Southeast Asian ones like Van Define Clothing, will make like really good, really beautiful pocket squares. You have Simenon Godard, I think, like the French maker who makes a lot of like good hosiery and like nice pocket squares, very beautiful. Cashmere, wool, silk, linen blends. I think our Drake's ones are wool, silk, and linen, where you get like they get more visual texture to them, because pocket squares again, like I feel like the sentiment is as they are completing the look, they also feel like something that you just should do when you're wearing a tie and sport coat. Like it's just, I think because of the fact that guys don't wear sport coats anymore, it's something that, okay, if I'm going to make the conscious decision to do it, I have to go full and wear the whole pocket square, tie, shirt, whatever. And I think it's also become a thing where guys just think of pocket square as fancy. It doesn't even think of it as like as an accessory thing anymore, where like your I mean, it is an accessory, but like it's not like an accent. Sometimes it is like the main thing. And you see that now where guys wear pocket squares even if they're not wearing a tie, because they see it as like this way to elevate the look. It's the pocket square signals some kind of formality, even though in reality, like, it doesn't really matter. When you look at, like, when guys wore, back in the golden era, guys would wear sports shirts with sport coats, and that's pretty casual because there's no tie. It's not even a dress shirt, but guys would still wear pocket squares because, like, they just did that. It's just something you just did. But nowadays, it's like, okay, I'm not wearing a tie. I'm gonna wear a pocket square because I want to look fancy, but not too fancy.
Well, because I also know back when I was wearing pocket squares more often, one of the things that would happen, and for a while, the last time I was wearing pocket squares, I was sticking to just white pocket squares, I think.
Yeah.
But, I have to imagine this was done at some point in the quote-unquote golden era, too, which may contribute to why you see them a lot more often. But I would put on a pocket square, I would be done with my night, and I would just hang up my jacket with the pocket square still in there because, you have the big fucking 15-pack of white pocket squares, so it's not like you're running low. And the next time you try it on, the pocket square's there, I'm not going to take it out. It's fine, It's fine where it is.
Yeah, I haven't done that because we'll get into this at the end of the episode, but like how we all wear them. Not every outfit I do requires a pocket square. White probably goes with everything, but I like the intentional choice because I like starting from a tabula rasa, like blank slate. I just put it all together, and so I like to think of it that way. But yeah, a lot of people use pocket squares in place of a tie, and it's just so funny. I know that it's fine, but like wearing a pocket square with a polo shirt just feels weird, and maybe I'm already poisoned where I think of pocket square as like the tie accessory. It pulls everything all together, and even then, it's all about whether or not it makes sense for the tie wearing outfit. I don't like the pocket square with, without a tie, or sometimes again when guys wear it with a polo shirt, and maybe it's because I don't want the pocket square to become a visual focal point of the outfit. I like it to kind of blend in. I like it to be just for me, where it's pulling in the colors of like the shirt, the pockets, the shirt, the jacket, and the tie. But when it becomes like, excuse me, take a shot, like the main thing of it, I feel like we're kind of losing on what the pocket square is meant to be, because then that becomes too studied to me. We're like, okay, I gotta make it be like the forefront. It's gotta be the pop of color as opposed to like just kind of blending all in together. I want it, I want this chord to be, I don't want people to be able to pick out all of the different notes. I want this to be like just kind of blending it all together. And so I think it does look a little cheesy when people just wear the pocket square. I know people do it. It's totally fine if they do it. It's also probably fine that they see it as like them being fancy. I get it. A tie's not for everyone. But I feel like Permanent Style did in his really good article about why he doesn't wear pocket squares, I feel like I've just gotten bolder in doing other things. I'll wear, instead of like, the bold pocket square, I'm going to wear like a bold striped shirt instead. I'll wear like my big old block stripes, like a big old grid pattern, or I'll, like you guys do, like I'll wear like, like I'll put like my pen in there, to kind of like give a little bit, or I know some people like will wear like a pin, like a lapel pin of like, like I know like Ryan has a couple stuff like when he was in Japan, or he makes some stuff of his animation or his stuff like that. I know a lot of people do it for bands, it's kind of a fun thing to do. I know Simon said he kind of does that as a reference to like when he would wear like a denim jacket when he was a teenager. I like that a lot. But if everyone wanted to be cool and fancy and slouchy, the real replacement for a pocket square is the fucking bandana or neck scarf. Like that's the real way to kind of have like a more interesting feel. And then I feel like guys like Jay are able to kind of affect this like your very jaunty, slouchy, and elegant look without relying on just doing a pocket square. I feel like there's something about like the hanging part.
I mean, that's true, but also like I don't know. This is a podcast about vibes, but it's just a different vibe between a guy wearing an open collar pocket square versus an open collar with like a neckerchief. Those are two different things.
But I would say that the neckerchief looks cooler than a guy wearing an open shirt in the pocket square. I feel like, to me, it looks so like businessman. You know what I mean? And not even in a good way. It feels so like. It feels like you're just not committing hard enough.
No, I mean, I get that, because I know that I've seen like Diet Workwear on Twitter talk about this recently, where it's like all the tech executives, or like not just tech executives, like executives in general who are trying to look like hip and cool but still professional. What they'll always do is they'll just wear like a navy or gray like worsted business suit and just not wear a tie, but they'll still have the pocket square. They'll still have like the dark leather shoes and stuff like that. And when you have all that but no tie, it just looks like something is missing.
Yes, and I feel like when you do it, I think the reverse is not true. Where like a tie with a shirt and everything, no pocket square. I feel like that's a specific look too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like that's even better because I feel like again the pocket square just like even to me as a guy who wears suits more than most people who wears a tie almost every day, the pocket square just feels too fussy. It's crazy
Yeah.
that it's come that way, and it's just so weird how like this small thing which doesn't really get to be seen that much just becomes that idea. And I've never felt that way about a tie. Maybe it's because like I know my ties are cool, but like pocket squares, I think it's because people approach it like, oh, the pocket square. There's so many different folds you can do with it, and I think people get so hung up on it, just like with the, oh, I need to wear the tie knot this way. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like people think they have to do it. Like people get the same way about pocket squares, and I'm like, no, dude, like just throw it in there. I remember one time, like a guy was so surprised. Like I was like, Ethan, how do you get your pocket square? Look at that. I'm like, you see this? I'm just gonna do this, this, and then put it in there. And like that's
Yeah.
all
I
it
just
is,
shove it
you know.
in.
And people just shove it in, and of course, like you kind of like you'll play around with it a little bit, but like I'm not like folding it a certain way or whatever to to get it all perfect, you know.
No, I
And
love.
so
Maybe we haven't done a full Chinatown episode, right? We'll have to do that eventually. But I remember
yeah,
seeing in that there's a part where he does that with his pocket square, and that's like you don't see that often. Like that motion, I guess, represented in film of him
oh
like
yeah, we
just
like
shoving
yeah,
the pocket square in his pocket and then like pulling it out so you get the peaks, stuff like that.
yeah.
But yeah, that was I remember watching that and being like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. I mean, I already knew, but I'm like, it was cool to see someone else do it.
No, yeah, yeah, that's how I do. And to me, now that we've kind of almost been an hour at this, I feel like we can talk about how we wear our pocket squares.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I I wear the white one a lot. But I before we move on, I do want to say that I do like the idea of like kind of wearing a tie without a pocket square. I kind of have done that a lot lately. It's because like when you look at like the '90s, like with Armani or whatever, not every Armani photo has a guy wearing a tie and pocket square. I don't even know if he did that as a part of his look back in like the early '80s and '90s.
Hmm.
I know Ralph Lauren has it, but I feel like that's the whole thing, right? Do you want to look like Ralph Lauren, everything all put together,
Yeah.
very old school, or do you want to do like Armani, where it's old school and like the slouch, but like the vibe is kind of feels modern to it because there's no pocket square.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's like a lot of tonal stuff. I feel like because a pocket square is so, traditionally used as like a pop of color or an accent thing. When you do something tonal, like wearing all brown, like like browns and grays, a pocket square kind of just doesn't fit with that kind of look to me. You know, a white one is just too much, right? And then when you get brown, it's like, well, I feel like now you're trying to be a little bit too fancy when the whole vibe is just you're supposed to be slouchy. You might as well just remove the pocket square. Um, and so like I feel like as I've added more things to my canon where I'm able to kind of be casual but still wear a tie, ergo like monochromatic looks, stuff that focus more on texture, Armani inspired. I feel like a pocket square just doesn't work for that. Same thing with like a '70s look too. I feel like '70s, even though people did wear pocket squares, I feel like if I want to lean into that, I just don't wear pocket square. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wore like flared chinos, chambray shirt, black knit tie, tweed jacket to go to a bar. And I'm like, a white pocket square. I feel like I'm trying to be a little Ivy. I feel like if I wear a pocket square, I feel like it just makes sense. Oh, I gotta wear penny loafers instead. But like, no, but I'm wearing boots, and I feel like a guy wearing boots won't wear a pocket square. Like,
Yeah,
it's just kind
exactly.
of like a weird like narrative through line going through here. And so like to me nowadays, the pocket square is really just all about whether or not it just makes sense for the character
Yeah.
that's wearing this whole thing. And again, and the character that I am not the guy who wears a polo shirt, sport coat, and pocket square. I feel like that guy is confused. I don't want to be these. I don't want to be those tech guys that you're talking about, right? Or like old guys. And again, it's not any shade to people who actually do that. I'm sure it's fine. But even then, when I see like photos of like Clark Gable that I've included wearing like a runaway collar shirt, pocket square, I'm like, why are you wearing a pocket square, Clark Gable? Like, just take it out, like, because your sport coat becomes a jacket. You're not wearing a sport coat. It's not a tailored look as much anymore. Like just take it out, and I feel like it's so much better. Like
Mm-hmm.
those looks that we shot with John. I don't think you're wearing a white pocket square when you're wearing your quad now your quad like fleck jacket with gabardines and like the gabardine shirt and the gabardine pants.
No.
I don't think you're wearing a pocket square for that.
No,
I
that
think
would be
you're kinda
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so nowadays when I do wear a pocket square, it's almost always a white one, and it's almost always with the Esquire man look where it's like spear point collar, abstract foulard tie, DB, and you're wearing the pocket square. I feel like I just don't do as much, especially with like I'll do it with Ivy League looks where it's just like the white TV fold, but I don't really do the whole gray pants, brown plaid jacket, red foulard tie, striped shirt, and then like a fun little pocket. I feel like that's just too much for me. I feel like it's just I've moved away from that, and it's kind of sad because
So sad.
the Drake's pocket squares that I bought were not cheap. I bought them 5-6 years ago when I'm like, this is so cool. I even gave MJ one for his birthday, long or Christmas like 5 or 6 years ago when I bought it. I think I bought them
He was
all
born
when it
on
was
Christmas.
yeah
My
yeah,
Christmas birthday.
Yeah.
yeah, but birth of Christ.
Your anniversary of being a Christian.
Yeah.
That's
But
it.
I don't do
Yeah.
it. I
It
feel
was
like
Jesus' birthday, and it's like, okay, I'll worship this guy as a gift.
As my own
I'll
gift.
just do him a little favor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like the more I get dressed, the more I kind of I wear fedoras again. Like it's like okay, I can't. It's weird, right? Like I'll wear a suit or wear separates, 3-point collar, foulard tie, fedora, but I won't do the pocket square. For some reason, the pocket square just feels like I can't do it, and maybe it's because like you're just not afforded as much expression with a pocket square because it's so small, you know. But then sometimes I feel like I wear pocket squares more when I wear like a DB because I feel like because of that I like that overlap and I like that tiny pop of color that you get or that like kind of three-dimensional feeling when it's kind of like tucked under like the DB, like the very wide DB lapel. I feel like the pocket square just looks really good with that. I don't do pattern pocket squares with a DB because I feel like that's too casual for a DB. I'll just do the white. And like Spencer said early on, or I think that all of us do it, I just wear the white pocket square now. Like that, if I'm wearing a pocket square, it's going to be white.
Yeah.
If I'm not wearing a pocket square, I'm probably doing a minimalistic look where pocket square doesn't make sense. And if I'm not wearing a button-up, tie-wearing shirt, I'm not going to wear pocket square at all. Like, you're not going to see me do t-shirt with pocket square. I feel like that's crazy. T-shirt with pocket square. What guy is that? Like, what guy? What character are you being with that guy?
You're Mr. Square.
You're being
Square
well. I
man.
guess in my head, you're being like a TV host of some YouTube thing where guys wear
Yeah, that is a very MTV video fucking like video
Yeah.
awards like presenter.
Yeah.
yeah, like white or like
Kids'
black
Choice
t-shirt.
Awards, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel
White
like we need to
sneakers,
we've
navy suit.
There
Yeah.
have been a couple different looks we've said. It's like this is like if you're a presenter at the Kids' Choice Awards, this is what you wear. We need to codify that look so people.
We need to
stop
like talk
wearing
about
dressing
all
like that.
the. We need to talk about all of like the non-menswear suit looks. You know what I mean? Like you're not in classic menswear. Like like that guy, the politician look, etc.
Really quick before I start, there's a song that I just remembered that you should embed into this. It's called "The Good Mr. Square."
Nice, love it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. But anyway,
Okay.
yeah,
Spencer, tell us about yours, because you like me, you have some white pocket squares.
well, here's
You also
here's the
have a
thing.
couple of Drake's ones.
I have one Drake's one. I have a bunch of pocket squares with patterns that I never wear. Either that, because like when I worked at J Crew, or sorry, not J Crew. I didn't get any pocket squares from J Crew. When I worked at Men's Warehouse, and especially Macy's, when I would still get discounts there, I would get them more often because like I could get like a fucking pack of like 5 pocket squares, like patterned ones, for like $2 or something like that.
What kind of patterns are you talking about?
I would always get the floral ones. You know me, I like the florals, and so sometimes I would buy a pack of pocket
that's
squares.
hashtag menswear right there.
I know, and I don't wear them anymore. But there was like if there was one pocket square that I liked in a pack of like 3 or 4 or whatever, I
You'd
would just
buy
end
the
up
whole thing.
Yeah, just because it's so cheap. But yeah, like you recently, if I had been wearing pocket squares, it would be a white pocket square. One of the reasons I haven't in the last couple months is because I just can't find my white pocket squares anymore, my plain white ones. And again, like this was another thing that was super nice at working in Men's Warehouse. I could get those like, big packs for so cheap. And so I would end up using them like as like handkerchiefs or something like that. And, sometimes they would get gross and I would throw them away, or they would be in a jacket that I take to get dry cleaning and they get lost, or something would happen. The point is, I can't find any of my white pocket squares anymore. Over the last couple of years, they've all, when I moved and stuff like that, maybe I left them at home. But I kind of want to just go on Amazon and get 1 or 2 packs of those, because there have been times where, especially if I'm doing the more straightforward like business looks, I'm not trying to dress for fashion, but like I'm, like actually working. There have been times where I'm like, man, I feel like a pocket square would just like, elevate this a little bit, bring it up. I know that you don't necessarily like the TV fold as much. I don't mind it with some looks. I don't like it
Only
with the
Ivy.
double-breasted
I only
jacket.
do it Ivy.
Yeah, but I do like it with, again, like the more straightforward kind of like everyman like business looks. I like the puff. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it's like the whatever character I'm dressing as that day. If it makes sense for that person to be wearing a pocket square, then I would want it. But a lot of times, if I'm going out, like if I'm wearing a sport coat for fun, it's usually a little bit more casual, and so I skip it. And then again, I use my breast pocket a lot, so that kind of takes up that real estate sometimes.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I feel like I definitely know I wear my white pocket skirt when I'm like going to something fancy. I feel like it makes sense, and like there's not a lot, but like I'm going to a wedding with Isabel, or like I think I went to Annie's birthday a couple of years ago where I went for like this really yuppie look. I wore like my navy suit. I wore a Bengal or like a Bengal striped shirt with like a fun like more corporate-y yuppie looking tie, and I'm like, well, the pocket square kind of makes sense with this, it kind of be because like in my head, like when you wear like a jacquard tie with like a white shirt, I feel like it's kind of like a wedding-esque, and I feel like wearing that, it kind of makes sense for it. And yeah, I do like the TV fold for Ivy League only because I typically just do it for the like the kind of just haphazard points in the air kind of like exploding pocket square thing. I don't do anything special, but what's funny is that the puff fold is kind of a paradoxical to me because I think the puff fold when it comes to like the Drake's pocket squares, right, or like the tapestry print ones, which I still love, I still own them. I'm never gonna give them away. I'm never gonna sell them because I love the print on them. I should just frame it. Honestly, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, they're nice. They're really good looking prints,
and they have great texture to it. I think that when they go into the pocket, they look really good as opposed to like.
Oh, that's true.
Obviously, we kind of said it before, but like the really shiny polyester ones, avoid that. Just like avoiding polyester shirts, sport coats. It like texture wise, it just doesn't work. I think that when you have texture that's closer like to cotton, linen, wool, silk, those combinations, I feel like it just looks a lot better. It feels more subdued, like how corduroy it looks good in jewel tones because of how dusty corduroy can like come off. But anyway, with the tapestry stuff, I feel like the puff fold is the only way that it works because you get to kind of like focus on like the middle part and the kind of it shows more of the tapestry because when you do it my way with the points sticking out, you just get like the borders and it just looks like you're wearing a solid red pocket square. And I'm like, I don't want to wear a solid red pocket square.
You just see a little bit of a unicorn's hind legs, and you're like, what is that?
Yeah, you want more of the scene, and so you kind of like that's where like, the whole like puff and twist thing that came about. I don't like that because like I don't like combining the puff and the points behind it. It looks like a fucking peacock or whatever, or like a turkey, like when kids do the whole the palm hand open palm turkey thing that I'm doing. Like this, I don't like that look, but so I do the puff fold to kind of get the most out of it. But then I think the puff fold, as most artists would say, looks formal because of how beautiful and spherical it looks, and I don't like that. I want it to be haphazard. I want it to be more slouchy, and the puff, which is technically like just a half moon, just like the look of it coming out of the pocket, just doesn't look. It seems antithetical to me for like the vibe I'm going for. So I end up just like. Foregoing the tapestry pocket square because it doesn't, the fold itself doesn't work for me. And then I end up just going with like the white pocket square, or I just go plain. And I feel like if my whole thing is the effect of like I want people to wear ties, because the way the ties look cool, or the way that they look, and I feel like the pocket square just makes it into a whole like aesthetic thing. I'm like, no, focus on the tie. So if I just remove the pocket square completely, I feel like then people can focus on how beautiful my tie looks, and people can see, oh, Ethan's kind of got it tucked into the waistband, And I do think the pocket square does play into its presence or absence can play into how people perceive the whole tie look. And I know for most people, they're probably not doing that, but if I tell them, then they'll know what I'm thinking,
Because, there was the, you talked about this before, the Esquire GQ article that you read.
Yes, and I tried so hard to find it for this article. I can't remember what year it was, but for those of you who don't know, there was one of the first Esquire books that my mom ever got me. This is like back in like high school. there was a whole article, or there was one look in this section, where we've talked about before, where like magazines will give like a fun, jaunty editorial name to different looks, and it was something about color, it was something about blah blah blah, and one of them was called the absence of the pocket square, and it was a guy wearing a sport coat, I think open shirt and like jeans. It was probably like dark. It was probably more tonal. It probably wasn't like a dad look. But I was like, whoa, no pockets, bro. That's fucking crazy. And for a long time, I never did that. But now I'm perfectly comfortable wearing a shirt, tie, sport coat, or suit combination, no pocket square. In fact, if you look at my fits for like the past 2-3 years, I guess pandemic wise, it's just not it's just like not there. The pocket square is just not there, and I feel like it's kind of opened it up. And it's not that I don't wear pocket squares anymore. I still wear it, but now it's just that the non-pocket square look has been added to the canon of everything. Um, and like Spencer and I have said, like it just depends on what character that is. But MJ, you're kind of different than the rest of us because you wear pocket squares more often. I think you wear it every time, and I'm curious why you do that. My head, it's kind of like, maybe are you like, because you're like newer to it, so you're still in the pocket square phase,
Yeah.
But what goes into your pocket square decisions?
I mean, it's just kind of like another detail, or like a little bit of like you said, like it's still kind of a new thing for me, so I want to
Yeah.
see how I feel about wearing it with everything, basically. Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, it's usually like shirt and tie. Uh, shirt and tie fits. Not really. I was about to say occasions, but it's everything is an occasion sort of thing. So it doesn't matter. I don't think too hard about wearing one or not wearing one. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, like we're the same. Like I own two pocket squares, though the tennis one and the plain like white cotton one. So, um, I I don't plan on going too into buying more pocket squares or like expanding colors and patterns. I haven't done in a while, but I also do the colored bandana. You've seen me do.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I'd like that more than the regular, convention of pocket, like the regular
yeah,
pocket square styles. But yeah.
cause I mean it's a little bit more slouchy and interesting compared to the regular pocket square. Um, Also a little bit more functional because it's like it's a thicker fabric, and use it as like a sweat rag or napkin if I need it, right? So it's like it serves more purpose, I guess, than the silk Drake's pocket square. That's just it's just a silk pocket square.
Yeah, but what I mean, that's why I haven't really done the whole bandana pocket square thing, just because I don't wear bandanas very often anyway. But I feel like the color for me is kind of hard because I already have. I mean, if you don't wear ties a lot and you don't have a lot of abstract ties or really big striped shirts, the bandana pocket square just makes sense, right? Like,
Right.
like I'm sure, like in my head, for you, if like you're wearing like a polo shirt, which I'm sure you do, or with like a kind of like a workwear thing, more casual, the bandana pocket square works. But again, for me, it's like when you got a whole bunch of stuff, like the bandana just doesn't make sense for that character. Doesn't make sense thematically or even like just color wise with everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Um,
yeah, like you said, if especially if you're doing, pattern tie, pattern shirt, adding that would kind of like it would throw you off a little bit, right? Or it's like you don't need it. It's an unneeded addition.
yeah, yeah, and I never want one thing to be the focal like color point of the outfit. I mean this goes beyond just pocket squares, but like I don't wear like navy suit, blah blah, blah plain white shirt and like a bright red tie or whatever. I think my style is much more understated, and so having too much power in the pocket square kind of betrays my own philosophy on dressing. Then again, I kept saying how I don't like the whole polo shirt with suit and like pocket square, but there is a excellent photo that Spencer showed me a long time
Hmm.
ago that I still have of Clark Gable wearing
Oh
gray
yeah.
suit, black polo shirt, and then a red bandana in a TV fold, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. and that's such a great look. But I feel like it's cool for like that photo, and because he's Clark Gable. But I feel like again, if you distill everything down to gray suit, black shirt, red pocket square, doesn't look good to me. I can't put that together.
But again, it looks good in the photo, so it's like you
I
can't pull it
guess
off.
so.
Yeah,
I get, but I think that's because again, I wouldn't wear the polo shirt and the suit probably like that, right? I'd probably go for something different. I feel like if I wore a black shirt and a gray suit, then I'd wear like my cream neck scarf, or a jaunty scarf, something that goes a little bit further, right? I feel like the pocket square to me again just doesn't work here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people in our Discord kind of agree the same thing. One thing that Kiyoshi brings up is, do you think, and I kind of agree here, like pocket square is like a class signifier or a result of you not reading class signifiers properly? Because again, to me, I'm like, yeah, most people do it because they think that's what a rich guy looks like, and it looks bad because that's not what rich people look like. And I also don't want to do that. I don't want to do that too much of a dandy thing. People are moving away from the pocket square, and I think if people are kind of having fun with a fun pocket square, probably best do it with a full suit at the very least. That way you have a little bit more of like a grounding agent as opposed to just wearing it with like I think when you're doing separates with the pocket square, I feel like you're starting to get a little too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might kind of mess up here, but yeah. So we guys wouldn't buy anymore. I think we're all set with pocket squares, right? It's probably not.
Well, like I said,
buy.
I would buy more,
Okay,
but
the
it would
white
just be
one.
the white ones to get get more.
Yeah,
Hey Spencer, come here. I'll give you one of my extra ones.
Okay. I need to get the 15 pack. I need to get the 15 pack.
See, unlike you, I take care. I don't leave them in places. So
I'm such a gentleman. I'm constantly offering my pocket squares to ladies in distress.
Sorry.
That's the
right.
problem.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're like, you know who I give mine to?
Who?
Nuclear physicists.
That's right. When you ask them,
you think they care who made the bomb?
Yeah. See, here we go. 10-piece pocket square. Oh, this is silk though. I don't want the silk. I want cotton ones. That's $10 for.
We kind of hinted at it. We didn't talk too much about it, but again, a more subtle texture is probably the best way to go. I think silk is shiny. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah, but
you want
here we
at least
go
a
on
blend.
Amazon, a 12-pack for $13 or a 6-pack for $8.99. Okay,
I could do
go.
a multi-pack of bandanas. I don't know about.
Even then, I think about it too. Like one thing I think about too is my shirt choices. Like they're all like Oxford or textured materials. I don't wear like straight up poplin that much,
Mm-hmm.
and so like a silk pocket square just doesn't match with that. Even my ties have texture to them. Like they're not like a shiny silk. They're usually like a matte color, or it's a knit tie, or it's like a wool blend tie, or like the vintage you have like those rayon blend ties which feel a little bit more matte or whatever. It kind of it doesn't really work. And then I don't have any silk pocket squares, but like if I was wearing my jacquard ties, I don't want two shiny things on my body. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to call that much attention to it. I should just have one jacquard, like one really silky thing. And even then, I would just wear a white cotton or cotton linen pocket square. I would not wear a white silk one. But before we end, I do want to say that there is one thing that I will always wear a pocket square with, no matter what. And the answer, of course, is black tie.
Oh, there you go.
The pocket square, it doesn't even matter. It just makes sense because I think because of how much black is on it, the bow tie, the cummerbund, the suit, the shirt, is kind of fun. You get a little bit of white there, but you don't even have anything to pull from in the tie, right? Because it's a black bow tie. So I think the white pocket square kind of helps there. And here's something that I was looking at my old photos that I would kind of do that inspired me. I would do a fun pocket square with black tie. I don't, and not in like the tapestry way, but I remember, I don't know if I still have it somewhere, but like my black capital bandana, which has like black, red,
cool,
white.
Yeah.
I feel like that would look killer with black tie. If you did it with like, if you did like the top half black tie with bottom half like flared jeans, the bandana pocket square, I think that would be absolutely sick with that. I do have one white silk pocket square. It's like this crazy like herringbone twill. I'd wear that with black tie because it's the shiniest white pocket square, and I feel like it works, especially when you have a wide lapel that goes over, that kind of overlaps the pocket. You kind of need a little bit of shine to the pocket square that really works with it. I would probably do a red silk one with that, because the red silk pocket square, like I mentioned earlier, but the red carnation kind of works with that too, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I
Um,
think about. I'm pretty sure I have this image in my head of an old Esquire illustration. That's a guy in black tie, and he's wearing a beautiful shawl lapel single breasted jacket. What from my memory, there is a hint of a red waistcoat poking out, and then he's got a red pocket square, which I've always been like, holy shit, this is so good.
See, black tie, yeah, guys, just you know, if we think of pocket squares as like a very fancy thing, wear it with the fanciest thing possible, which is black
Yeah.
Yeah.
tie. You know,
Exactly.
I love it. Even when I wore like I did my creative black tie where I wore my seersucker like my cream seersucker jacket with tuxedo trousers for my birthday, I wore a pocket square because it just makes sense to wear that.
Mhm.
I feel like it would look naked without a pocket square.
It
You
would
know,
look naked.
I did in a very anti-Ethan fashion when I went to Italy. I forgot to bring a white pocket square to the wedding,
Oh no.
but I was already wearing sandals and wearing like I was wearing a white chambray shirt, instead of like a tuxedo shirt. So I feel like it kind of worked with like the character I was being. Like this guy wouldn't wear a pocket square. But I think now, you know, again, if like, you know, going to the Phil, you know, wearing with like plaid odd trousers, I feel like I would wear a
Mm-hmm.
pocket square with that kind of thing.
Or
But
PSQ.
that's right. But when it comes to, you know, whether or not you're wearing it with a suit, sport coat, or whatever, I think you got to really think about like what look you want to do. If you
Yeah.
want to do that, if you want to be that guy, be the Clark Gable or like, you know, the regular guy wearing it with a polo shirt, I think you can do that. I think there are ways to, you know, to again make it work, you know, with the Drake's wool silk pocket squares or whatever, like those tapestry ones that you can get, probably more common now. I think that's a really good look. I think if you want to do the white pocket square TV fold with ivy with OCBD, or a spread collar shirt with like the very slim rep stripe tie, feel that's cool. Or the white exploding pocket square with like, you know, a brown check jacket, or with a DB suit, all the Esquire man, I feel that's cool. But you know, I think leaning into the fact of that you don't always have to wear it, you know, with the minimal tonal stuff that I kind of do now with like Frasier doesn't wear pocket squares. You
He
know, like
hates
that's
them.
yeah, but I don't think Niles does either. But Niles has a handkerchief that he does to dust off his like his chair or clean his face or whatever when there's germs. But they don't wear pocket squares, and I feel like that's probably stems from the Armani look, because both of them are wearing like Armani suits. But it just kind of, you know, when I'm doing the whole Frasier look, I don't want to wear pocket square, and I feel like it does say something when I look at photos of myself when I'm wearing like brown tailoring, with even with a foulard tie and striped shirt. No pocket square does send a message, you know. But on the flip side, pocket squares always send a message. It's whatever, you know, whatever you choose to do with that, just make sure it makes sense with the look that you're going for.
Hmm.
And I think again, like I think like all of us, we will always treasure our Drake's fun pocket squares, even if we don't wear them a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we
But-
will have to like just frame them or make a quilt. You know, just get
Of
a very
two?
small quilt with two of them. Yeah, it's
I
more like
think
a hand towel or like something, but you know.
I might frame them. Maybe Isabel will have some ideas on how to wear them. Because I'm gonna give MJ some of my other pocket squares in case he wants to wear them. But I found some that I bought long time ago. You know, I have like this brown foulard one that I thrifted at like it's like J Crew. I thought that's kind of a cool one. You know, or like a blue reverse stripe. But the thing is, I wear those things already in my shirts and ties.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for me to wear as a pocket square. You know, I'd rather have a tapestry jaunty scarf or a tapestry, you know, jaunty tie or whatever, instead of having a pocket square. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. But I will never give up my pocket squares,
I'll
because
never give up.
I spent too much money on them, and I don't want to give them up. And I think that guys just probably wouldn't wear them as much. I think guys would probably read the blog and be like, Ethan actually doesn't wear this, so why would I buy it from him? You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of the downside.
Ties are too strong, man.
Yeah,
There
I
we go.
love
Should
ties.
Should
I
we
love
briefly
ties so
talk
much.
about when we had a pocket square business for 2 weeks?
Yes, yeah. So those of you who don't know this, we actually got caught up in our hashtag menswear thing, and
Well,
we were
because
like,
I remember seeing, we went to Dapper Day, and I saw a booth selling pocket squares with fabric that I recognized from like Michaels or
Oh, yeah.
something, and
Yeah.
then they were selling them for like $20, and I was like, holy shit, guys. Like this is a money printing operation right here. And then yeah, I went to Michael's. I broke out my sewing machine and made a bunch of those, and I think we maybe gave them to a couple friends of ours.
yeah,
we opened up an Etsy store and then just never did anything. Like
We
I
sold
went to,
one.
We sold one. I went to London, and I remember texting you guys while I was in London. I'm like, hey, is this still going on? And you guys were like, I don't think we're doing this anymore.
Well, because we
But
had
yeah.
to make it ourselves. I'm sure these
That's
guys
true,
like they just
yeah.
got some like Alibaba place to like just source the
They
fabric
just,
or you know whatever.
just like dumping. In retrospect, it would have been way cheaper and easier to just get a big bulk of fabric and then dump it off at some factory's place doorstop. But we didn't have that kind of resources back then.
Drop-shipped,
You had
when
a
we
sewing
were, like,
machine and a
20.
dream.
Yeah. It was called. Should we tell them what it's called?
Mercer and Arrow, of course.
That's right. It had to sound super hipstery and like a, like hipster ass.
That's a Tumblr
Yeah.
the
URL.
Tumblr. Yeah,
Well, no,
exactly.
it's like
And we
it's
did
like
have
the
a
same
Tumblr.
thing in the Wolf of Wall Street, where he's coming up with the name of his farm, and
Bratton
it's like
Oakmont.
it has to sound like something they came over on the Mayflower and carved it into Plymouth Rock. That's what we were going for.
Yeah, and that's what
Yeah.
it is. Mercer and Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
I will say even back then. See, I looking back at the old photos that you guys will see on the blog, pocket squares are such an important thing for like an aesthetic because that's how I differentiated between like okay, I'm doing the hashtag menswear look. I'm doing Esquire Man. Way back when, I did all of those things because I knew that a pocket square could signal these things expressively. TV fold for this, exploding white pocket square for that, or with a slim fit suit, crazy unicorn pocket square, or like anchors or shit on my pocket square with like with like a fun like spread collar shit. Like I was always obsessed with this from like a very aesthetically driven, I mean, I guess you could call it Disney bounding or cosplay, or as we call it now, cinematic dressing standpoint. And I think if you guys are still wondering about the pocket square and how you're going to do that, just think of it that way. Or just buy one white pocket square and then use as needed. That'll get you through a lot of it. And most of the
That's all
time,
you need.
you're probably not going to wear the pocket square. You're probably going to err on the side of not wearing it. So. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Feel free to look at the blog post for all the photos of cool stuff, of pocket squares, and a lot of outfits that we wear of us not wearing pocket squares. So you guys can make a decision of when to wear it or not, and if
Do you
things
want a
would
pocket
be
square?
or if things would be better off with it or not. It's all about that. That's what makes this whole thing a hobby. It is fun to kind of play that aesthetic algebra, I guess, and kind of figure out what adds to the whole look or not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely a lot of photos in there. A lot of old photos of Ethan, Spencer, and MJ.
Yeah.
Especially of Ethan.
That's right.
In that one. So definitely take a look at that. And thank you to the guys in our Discord who discussed this a little bit. I think a lot of them are in agreement that pocket squares are a little bit too dandy, and a lot of people have moved away from pocket squares, even if they still wear ties today. So,
Well, strange.
interesting to see. But yeah, to join the Discord, you gotta give us $5 a month by going to patreon.com/style direction. Again, $5 a month gives you access to our Discord. Plus our bonus episodes where we talk about movies or personal stuff. Just a lot of fun there. Not really big deal. Not doing a good job of selling this, but it does help us out and support us and pay for things like helping Spencer fix his laptop, which is why he's
That's
able to
right.
record today.
Yeah.
$10 a month gives you access to all of that, the Discord, the bonus episodes. Plus, we thank you personally. So MJ, who are the people that we are thanking?
We are thanking our Sadcast fanatics, Shane Curry, Phil Gregard, Henrik Wilberg, and Alexander Batten.
We appreciate you guys so much. I know you guys have
We
been
love you.
basically the only supporters of the Sadcast tier for a long time. So again, we appreciate it. I guess I never said it, but you guys also get thanked in like every blog post. So like that also $10 a month gets you access to all of
What
that.
you're gonna get 1 million more subscribers now for this tier.
Oh man, they want to be thanked at the bottom of my very long 2,000 word
Yeah.
articles.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys again. You can follow me at Ethan M. Wong.
I bet Spencer DSO.
I'm at OyaMJ.
Don't forget to read my essay on pocket squares as well as a companion piece to this episode. We will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone stop your recordings.
Okay. I just dropped your pod.